not the full amount, but seeing as it's, excuse me, it's kind of a retirement gift from my dad, and I'm hoping we can work something out as soon as possible. Okay. Anyway, if you're interested, call me at this number, and maybe we could meet up here, slip in Yalapa. I can take a look at the boat. You can see that I have the funds. I'm offering cash, by the way. No paperwork. Not a big fan of paperwork, so yeah.
Logan has shown itself to be a very unique film in a market that otherwise is saturated with spectacles of explosions, a number of intertextual references, and a story that focuses on large-scale destruction rather than focusing on the matters to each of its individual characters. Some aspects of the film that really distinguish itself from other movies based on comic books are that of character and story. This film features intense and intimate moments that we don't often see in a lot of other films of this franchise. By focusing on just a few main characters, it allows the audience to see each and every aspect of the relationships that each character has with one another. With Logan caring for Professor Xavier, Professor Xavier caring for X-23, and for X-23 to finally begin caring for Logan, there is a circle of attachment that they have for one another. Compared to a film like The Avengers, where characters quite often oppose each other. The main influence that I think this film has taken from is that of the Western genre, quite explicitly featuring a lot of the film in a desert environment, a somewhat rogue Lone Ranger doing what is right, and also with the scene that foreshadows the death of Logan. In the hotel room with Professor Xavier, showing the last scene of the film Shane, which is about sacrifice and morality, overcoming bad in the name of what is right. The director James Mangold has said this about westerns in relationship to the film Logan. I love westerns for their simplicity. I think movies have gotten really plot heavy and lost their focus on character. And one of the really beautiful aspects of westerns is that they really go deep into character. They are still action films, but they go very deep exploring the characters involved into the stories. Characterization in this film is especially important, with it being the death of a character so loved. We need to see the final moment of Logan and his friends and family around him to make the film more impactful. It really follows the traditional 3-act narrative structure well, this not simply being a beginning, a middle and an end. First of all, we're introduced to Logan. Logan then has to protect his car and is also confronted by Pierce with the allusions to X-23. We're also introduced to Professor Xavier and X-23. There is then the shootout in Logan's home, and it establishes the factor of X-23's abilities. More obstacles come along as the institution come after X-23 and Logan. We find out that X-23 is Logan's biological daughter. We're introduced to X-24 and the death of Professor Xavier. We find out that Eden was real. Logan locates and protects X-23 and the rest of the mutant children while also putting himself in harm's way. The film wraps up with the final act and the death of Logan as he sacrifices himself to save X-23 and finally die after his long life. The thing I think this film has done so well is that it's taken the source material of a comic book and brought out the characters that are so important to it, first thinking about the characters and how they affect the narrative. Once this was done, there was a focus on true R-rated storytelling, one that would include what is necessary to tell the story correctly and not abuse the spectacle of cinema by using things like explosions where they're not necessary. I'm going to leave you with a clip of what the writer and director James Mangold had to say about the characters.
One of my goals in this movie was to try and take a step back from the kind of CG arms race that a lot of these movies, superhero films, summer films, have been engaged in, and try to do something that was a bit more naturalistic, a bit more humanist, and even a bit more paced, if you will. Giving the actors a chance to breathe with one another, to relate to one another, and to establish that our primary special effect will be the relationships between these characters, and hopefully you being moved or intrigued by them, as opposed to just getting wowed and slammed by expensive visual effects.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, then feel free to leave a rating to let me know what you thought. My name is James Hayes, and thank you for watching.